everybody. Welcome back to another Darkest Dungeon modded class review. This time, the Onnabushi. Now, just to preface this is the Onnabushi rework mod on Steam, not the original. I haven't played the original, so I can't tell you how good it is. But this rework, which I think is now like the official version, as opposed to like the old one being the legacy, it's actually quite good. Stats are really unique getting into them. So, 38 HP is bottom and is really bad. 32 dodge is it's basically the highest dodge I've seen. 35 is the jester, and that is top tier for the base game heroes. But everything other than that's like 30. So that's, I guess, is top. 8 speed is above average and is very nice and welcome. It means you don't have to itemize for speed that much. 7 crit is a little bit below average. 12 to 14 damage is it's right there on the average, but if you've noticed, the range is ridiculously small. Now with a lot of classes, the really weak stuff in the base game is like 7 to 13, like on the Hound. The Hound is 7 to 13. So your max damage here is 14, which is clearly not much better than 13. But the minimum damage has gone up by 5. So what you have here is really average damage. But you're never doing anything great. So what you'll find is you'll sometimes leave people on like really low HP. Like with a Hound, if you hit somebody, you might leave them on half if you min roll and leave them on like like 5% HP on a max roll. But this, it's either like 10% left on a min roll or 5% left on a max roll, which is gonna be really infuriating because you're like, just fucking kill him, just do a little bit more. But overall, I'd say this is the plus. Like constantly doing average, I guess if you hate gambling, this could be your class. But it's just something to make a note of. Now, stun resist 85. You get a lot of like weird resistances here that end in 5s or not, or death blow, which is notably 70 instead of 67. I mean, I don't know, just make it 67, like 70. Who cares? But yeah, 85 stun is quite bad. Then you have 120 blight, which is really good. You have 80 bleed, which is again bad and bottom. 90 debuff is basically average. 120 move is top. I don't know why there's 120 move, but like okay. And then 100 trap is also top, so you're gonna be getting traps all the time. And then 15 disease. Why? I guess they just make it 20. Whatever. And then you have 2 forward and 1 back movement. Now that movement doesn't matter because basically all the skills you're going to be doing are going to be moving you forward 1 or 2 or back 1 or 2. So, like, who gives a fuck? Getting into the skills. So, like I just said, basically all of these are movement skills. Starting with the river bends, starts in the back 3 rows, can hit the front 3 rows, which is great. Being able to hit row 3 is good. Really high crit, which is a staple of this class, is high crit. Your base is 7, but all your other skills have really good crit mods on them. Notably, this bypasses guard. And also notably, this moves forward 2. So I typically start in row 3. I guess you can start in row 2 and do this. Or row 4 and then go into row 2 with this. But this is quite a good ability. It does your base normal 12 to 14 damage. Now the second ability here, Summer Haze, is your stun ability. Notably, it's 135 stun, which is quite weak. Top skills like the Bounty Hunter. I believe Uppercut's 140, but Flashbang is like 150. 150 is kind of your top tier for base game. And this is 135, so it's not that great. Now it has pretty good accuracy. It doesn't do very good damage. It'll do like 4 damage, 5 damage maybe. Really high crit though. And it buffs yourself for 20 damage. Now this is nice. This is good to have, and it moves you forward 1. So if you don't want to move forward 2 for whatever reason, you could just use this. And the problem is you can't use it in position 1. You can't use either of these in position 1. So this has to be a mobile class realistically. So you need to at least have 1 forward movement skill. I tend to keep both of these, just because I don't want to do 4 damage every single time I attack. So onto the back. So, inevitably, what you're going to do is you're going to River Bends and you're going to Summer Haze, and you're going to get into position 1. And then once you get into position 1, you're going to need to get back. Now you have 3 options for that. You can Wiltering Branch, Morning, or Flight Reversal. So the main difference between Wiltering Branch and Morning is the dungeon you're in, because this is Morning's a bleed attack and Wiltering Branch is a blight attack. So Wiltering Branch can hit row 3. It can be used in row 2, but you wouldn't want to do this. You would basically never want this, just river bends. Has high accuracy, pretty low damage. It'll do like 6 or 7. Pretty decent crit, and it blights. And it debuffs the target's crit. Now that's a cool debuff. I don't think I'm going to use it for the debuff. I want to use this because the problem is these are the best 2 abilities she has for damage, River Bends and Summer Haze, but you need to go back to keep using them. Unless you just have like a move forward party. So if you're in the ruins or the cove, you'd take Wiltering Branch because it does blight. You wouldn't use this in the Warrens of the Weald. Now going to Morning can only be used from position 1, which is notable. I mean, it doesn't, not really, because you're only ever going to use this in position 1 anyway, unless you're bad. So, but this can only hit row 2 as opposed to row 3. Now this does a stronger dot. It does 6 over 2 as opposed to 4 over 3. So you still do 12 damage, but you just do it more concentrated, which I personally like more. Also, for some reason, better. It's like 140 base versus 130. Okay. You don't debuff. But the best thing about Morning, I think, is the minus 10% damage mod, which means you're actually doing quite a lot of damage, as opposed to minus 50%. So, if I'm in a dungeon where I don't give a fuck about the dot, or like let's say I'm fighting a cultist brawler, where his blight and bleed are essentially the same, I'd rather have Morning. Because I'm already going to be in position 1, I'd rather do more damage, and then I want the stronger dot tick. I guess if I'm trying to stall, I would want to use Wiltering Branch, but if I'm trying to stall, I actually have another ability for that anyway. And the third option to go back is Flight Reversal. This is the worst one by far. You go back 2, which I guess is a plus, is going to back 1. But you do a little bit more damage than Wiltering Branch, but you hit the back 2, which sounds great in theory. You minus their speed, which sounds great in theory. But the way you're going to play this is you, realistically, you might use this in turn, like, you wouldn't use this on your first turn. Your first turns are going to be River Bends, or you're going to be Summer Hazing. Both of which can already hit row 3. So you're already hitting row 3. You could River Bends twice. With your high speed, you could start in row 4, River Bends row 3, then River Bends them again, or you Summer Haze them again. And by that time, you're already on turn 3, so you should hopefully have them dead, or enough to where you can kill them with like your Arbalist or whatever, and you don't need to use your melee person for this. Plus 12 dodge, I guess, is cool. If you don't want to get hit, again, there's a better ability than using this. I just think this is kind of a weak ability. I guess it's okay, but I feel like by the time you're going to be using this, it's better to just be using Morning or Wiltering Branch and hit the front people. Now, Pale Evenings is primarily a debuff skill, and notably, it does not move you. So if you kind of want to just stay where you are, you use Pale Evenings. And it's quite a good debuff, too. It minus damage, minus prot, minus speed. Now, it only hits the front 2, which is actually kind of a good thing, because what this is a skill you'd use at the end of the fight. So you're going to River Bends, and you're going to Summer Haze, and you're going to beat the shit out of the back people in the front. You know, your cultist acolytes and your madmen and your skeevers and your viragos and whatever the fuck else. And then at the end of the fight, when all you have left is a bunch of trash in the front, like the swine with the hook hand, not the, okay, I guess that guy, but the swine with the meat cleaver hand, that guy, or you have a cultist brawler or a fucking like bone dude, the guy with the club, like shit in the front. They have damage, they have prot, and they sometimes have like 6 speed. Like maybe. So if you minus their damage, you minus their prot, they're easier to kill, and you minus their speed means they're going last. So when you are stress healing and you bring somebody like a leper that has 3 speed, the leper can still go first, and you don't have to be like, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna stress heal and heal with your first 2 dudes. Then you're gonna have one guy with like 5 speed, and you're gonna have your leper with 3 speed versus the bone defender. And you'll be like, Will the Bone Defender go before my Leper? Because if he does, I've fucked up. But with this, you minus that Bone Defender's speed, so the Leper's gonna go first, even though he's really slow, and then you don't have to, like, maybe waste an action. That's when you'd use this. Other than that, I wouldn't really do it. You're not trying to, maybe if you're on a boss battle, like if you're really bad and don't like killing the matchman, you can debuff the cannon's damage and prot. I don't even know if you can debuff the cannon, but like maybe you could do that. I don't know. Maybe the Swine King. You could use on the Swine King. Actually, that would be kind of decent. Minus his damage a lot. But like I'm trying to. If you can notice, I'm like reaching at stuff to use this on, which means it's not really that good. Especially considering the other stuff she can use. This is a victim of opportunity cost because there's just better skills you can take. One of them is Mirror Moon. Mirror Moon is fucking phenomenal. It stealths you for 2 rounds, which realistically means 1 round, because as soon as you use it, that first run goes away. So you have to continually use this every turn. You get more crit while you're stealth, which is cool, but not really what this is used for. Clear mark target, don't give a single fuck about that. Plus 8 speed is cool. And it gives a block to somebody. So what you can do with this is how you stall so well. So what you'll do is you'll stealth yourself, and then you'll give a block to, I don't know, your Crusader in the front row. And now that stupid Cultist Brawler that can only hit the front 2 rows can't hit your Onnabushi because she's stealthed. Hits the Crusader and does no damage because he's got a block on him. Notably though, bleeds, blights, and stress and stuns all go through a block. You'll take no damage, but you'll still get dotted, you'll still get stunned, and you'll still get stress, which is the worst thing. So a critical hit that does no damage, so does the stress, which is still really bad. But this is a really amazing stalling ability and can be used to save people's lives. It can save her life because nothing can go through stealth besides AoEs. And then giving somebody a block is fantastic, and there's no cooldown. So you can just give everybody blocks. You can give the whole team blocks. You can give up to 2 before it, like, they don't go away except at the end of the fight, but you can't just give somebody 10 blocks. You can give them 2 until they have to be used. Sadly, you can't have 3 Onnabushis. I did try to cheese a fight with 3 of them and have them just target 1 guy. Didn't work. So, because 2 blades cannot meet. Dun dun dun. I don't know what the fuck that means. But this is still a great ability. Now, going on to our camping skills, you lose Pep Talk. What a shame. You get Hobby, which is an encourage on yourself for 12 stress, another 15. Really solid. Love this. For time cost 3, you can remove 35 stress off a companion and heal 10% HP. This is so much better than encourage. 2 encourages is 30. For 4, this is 3 and you get 35. So that's great. Eastern Faith is a better version of Pep Talk on the self. That's just also solid. Calming Tune is like the Jester's ability, except a little bit better because it's the whole party, minus 15 stress, and everyone gets minus 15% damage received. This is a really strong ability. And finally, Mind of Steel. Plus 10 crit, plus 15% accuracy, and plus 5 speed. Now, accuracy, this sounds a lot better than it is. It's probably really good early game. Because when you are late game, you have enough accuracy trinkets to where you don't need 15 extra accuracy a lot of the time. Like if I'm already stacking 15 accuracy on my trinkets, which I'm probably doing, I don't need another 15, you know what I mean? I don't need 130 accuracy. Or 140. Like it's good enough. 10 crit is great, but I'd rather have damage than crit because I can count on damage. I can't count on crit. Even with really high crit, like it's still a chance, and if you don't, like, it's nice, I guess. And 5 speed is good, but you're going from 8 to 13. 13 plus whatever speed trinkets you have means you're probably going ahead of your healer, which, as you've heard me say 1,000 times, you don't want to do because you're going to get fucking dot ticked with your 38 HP and then die. So this is like okay, but it's not great. If I was going to use these, I would definitely have Hobby this. What I would do if I know I need Mind of Steel, these are kind of like, you gotta know what you need. I would always have Calming Tune art massage, and hobby. Now, if I know I need an encourage, I'll take an encourage. Like if I'm planning it out and I don't have 3 time classes, I only have 2, or it'd be a waste because someone has like 12 stress and you don't want to waste fucking 35 on that. Take encourage. If you're going into a drowned crew fight and you're just gonna mourning the skeleton, which is a really bad idea, maybe you could wildering branch a skeleton. You could use this, or if you're going into a really high, like you're going into a shambler fight, you could use this, or you're hunting for a shrieker, use this. This, just be wary of the 5 speed. That's what I don't like the most, is the 5 speed. But this could totally be useful. Just have to like kind of plan around which ones you're gonna use. If I'm forgetful and don't know which one to take, I'd probably just take encourage, and then be mad at myself for not taking Mind of Steel. All right, so to pick abilities, you want Mirror Moon. Definitely want Mirror Moon. You definitely want River Bends, because that's your damage ability. And you definitely want Summer Haze. These 3 are kind of non-negotiable. You want to stun, you want to do damage, and you want to give people blocks and stealth. Now, this is too situational Pale Evenings for me to like. Flight Reversal is just not good enough, I don't think. Like, it's not an opening move. You're not going to start her in position 1 and do this, when you could just kill them. That's how you debuff their speed, is you kill them. They don't have any speed then. So, I wouldn't use this. I wouldn't use this unless I'm, like, again, like a swine god fight. So then, like I said, it's on the dungeon. If you're in a dungeon with high bleed resist, you take Wildering Branch. And if you're in a high blight resist dungeon, you take Mourning. And if you don't care about resistances, just do Mourning anyway, because you're only going to use these in position 1. Because you'd rather just do River for damage, you'd rather use River Bends in either of these. Because you don't have to take a 130% chance to do 4 damage, you just fucking do it. And then this is just slightly better. Now, one trinket, I would like, alright, so quick trinketing, accuracy, not as much speed as you'd normally run, because you already have 8, so just be wary of keeping them below your healer. But accuracy, damage, stun percentage is quite necessary, because 135 stun is quite weak. You don't really need to buff dodge, because if you don't want to get hit, just use Mirror Moon. You don't really, she's like a pseudo healer, in the way that she's a damage preventer. So that's quite nice. Having high speed on her could mean you could just run this. She could only use Mirror Moon and be a healer, in a sense. You know what I mean? Just like stun the enemies and get enough blocks off to where you can just keep replacing the damage with blocks, and that could be useful. One trinket I would like to comment on, though, is this, the Benahim. It's a Mourning trinket. It gives Mourning plus 25% damage, so now you have plus 15%, so it's your most damaging ability. More crit if you're below 40% HP, minus HP, minus 6 dodge. So let's put this on. Your dodge is 26, I don't really care. Your HP does on by 3, I don't like this, because you're already really squishy, and now you're like balancing that out with like better than average dodge. But now you have neither of those. This is quite bad. Speed 11 means you definitely don't want to be using Mind of Steel, because now you're totally going ahead of your healer. And then you're just going to die to that tick, now that you have no dodge and no HP. And then crit below 40%. I don't want to be below 40%, so hopefully I don't have to use this, which is the problem. So I wouldn't actually really use this trinket. Overall, the Onnabushi is a pretty solid damage class. It's only really damage. It no stress heal. I guess you can stress heal through the really high crit percentage, but I'm not going to call that a stress healer. There's no healing. There is stunning. It is weak stunning, though. You have to remember 135. You're going to want to buff that, unless you're not going to be able to double stun like ever. And you're probably not going to be able to stun stuff that's pretty high. Anything above like 90% I wouldn't go for. 90% resistance, that is. But you are a pretty decent support class with Mirror Moon. Mirror Moon is a really defining ability of this class. Just being able to stall at the end of the fight is great. Unless somebody crits, you don't have to worry about healing. You can just stress heal a lot. Which is great for a class like the Rescuer. Because the Rescuer is a healer and a stress healer, and sometimes at the end of a fight you're like, do I stress heal or do I heal? Because he's like the guy that does both. But if you can mirror moon everybody and they don't take damage, you can just focus on that stress heal. And if they crit, even if they have a block, there's no damage, so you just keep stress healing all the way. So that's quite nice. And the camping skills are also really good for stress healing, whether through stress prevention or through actual stress healing. So overall, I think this is a really strong class. I recommend you check it out. It's not going to be universally good, just because I think the main thing that's holding it back for me is the damage. Because, like I said, 14 is actually quite low for max damage. It's really good min damage at 12, like top tier min damage. But the max damage is what I think holds it back. So you're not as good of a damage dealer as you would think. You're quite like a subpar damage dealer. Now, in a class that can only really do damage, that can only take you so far. But I don't want to come off as too negative. I think this is a really well made class. It's quite good. I think you should check it. You're going to find a lot of really interesting strategies. You can cheese in a lot of boss fights with this. I'm thinking specifically the Umibozu fight. Because the gimmick for this is you have to be on death's door to do damage to the boss. So what you do is you just take this bitch and you get one guy to death's door and you just keep throwing mirror moon blocks on him and he won't die. Like, he's on death's door, but I don't think you get death's door checked if you have a block on you. I would imagine it would kind of make sense because you're not taking any actual damage. And I don't think this guy blights or bleeds. So that might be the new wave. I'm afraid to do this fight because I'm on Blood Moon and I have deaths. So I'll do that later, but I think that this is where she could really shine. So anyway, depending on when this is uploaded, I'll either have started my multiplayer reviews or I'm going to be doing some multiplayer reviews soon. So look forward to those. And in the meantime, I'll see you guys around.